do. Oh, yes, I'm the great pretender. Oh, pretending that I'm scoring well. Do, do, do. My need is such. Siakam pretends too much. He's lonely and he needs Kawhi. Ba, 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 ba. Oh yes, they're the great pretenders. Toronto Raptors. Boston should have won 4-1. They got their ass blasted, down 27 at halftime. The bench was not riding the pine. Pascal Siakam, an overrated. Bum. So, Boston has fully recovered from that shocker in Game 3. You know what I'm saying? In reality, to me, Boston should have won 4-1. I mean, I don't like doing woulda, coulda, shouldas, but that was a miracle shot that OG Anunoby made. You know what I'm saying? Perfect pass, perfect catch and shoot scenario. I was amazed that shot went in. It was a dream scenario. But you have to take that into consideration. Look, it kind of reminded me a little bit of when LeBron hit that deep three to win it way back in the day. What was that, 2008, 2009, whatever it was. Might have been 2009 against the Magic. I mean, ultimately, they still lost the series 4-1. It didn't really shift the momentum. It really actually showed that it took a superhuman effort from LeBron. I think he averaged something like 38, 8, and 8 in that series. Something ungodly just to keep it from being a sweep. And when you think about it, right? When you think about it, if you take that game, which should have been won by Boston, and if you take the fact that they lost Game 4, right? Even though I don't think Game 4 was a blowout, right? It wasn't really a blowout, despite the fact that I think Jaylen Brown only shot 4 of 18 from the floor. And I also believe, I think Jaylen Brown shot 4 of 18, and Kemba Walker only took 9 shots. So when you look at that, plus they were still shell-shocked from the effects of the game winner. They really should have won. This series should be over with already. This series should be over. And Boston came out, just on fire in Game 5. And after the first quarter, they led 25-11. At halftime, they had a 27-point lead. And they pretty much just put it on cruise control to a 111-89 final victory. Jaylen Brown had a game-high 27 points for the Boston Celtics. Jason Tatum had 18 points and 10 rebounds. Kemba Walker had 21 points to go along with 7 assists. Marcus Smart had 12 points and 7 rebounds. Daniel Theis had 15 points to go along with 8 rebounds. And I just like this. You know what, man? I like these types of teams, man. I like these types of teams where, you know, you don't have one particular superstar. You know, they're just a good overall team, if not a great overall team. You know what I'm saying? And I sometimes do get annoyed when certain coaches get a lot of credit all the time. But Brad Stevens is a hell of a coach, man. And I don't think, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think he's ever won Coach of the Year. I don't think he has, if my memory serves me correctly. But this is a guy that's long overdue for that award. I think he's one hell of a coach, man. A lot of these guys today, these coaches, this carousel of coaches, a lot of these guys get a lot of praise, but in reality, they don't seem like they're actually really good, great coaches or X's and O's coaches or guys that can really strategize and make adjustments. In this series, you know, I don't even know if it's just coming down to coaching. Nick Nurse is a really good coach, although I think that, you know, he might have Kawhi Leonard to thank for that reputation of being a great coach. Although it's not hard to outcoach Steve Kerr, you know. So there's that. But yeah, the final score is 111-89. Once again, you know what I'm saying, Pascal Siakam has proven that he is not a first option player. In my opinion, he's actually more of a third option player. He's a great third option. You know what I'm saying? Like on a team with 2 great perimeter guys, he's a great third option. But as a first option, no. I don't even think he's a great second option. I think he's a good third option. I think he'd be a great third option player. Just because of his lack of actual moves, you know what I'm saying? Like he's limited, you know. People get on Giannis, but I notice people don't get on Pascal Siakam. Oh, but that's that ESPN agenda talking, you know what I'm saying? That's that ESPN agenda that people listen to. You know what I'm saying? If it's funny that anybody that poses, I keep telling people this, listen to me, goddammit. I've told you, anybody that poses a threat to LeBron James, Fox Sports isn't as bad. They're bad, and they have some terrible people. Don't get me wrong. Chris Broussard and, you know, Nick Wright are terrible. Terrible. But ESPN, man, I swear, it is unbelievable. Anybody that poses a threat to LeBron James in any way, shape, or form, MVPs, praise, they'll have something negative to say about them. Something. It's unbelievable. I actually saw, not to kind of drift off from the video, but I actually saw a video title on YouTube, right, under ESPN. The video title was, "Are the Bucks playing better without Giannis?" When it should have been, the Bucks showed heart rallying after losing their leader or something like that. They actually insinuated that maybe Giannis is holding the Bucks back. You know, I really wanted to destroy my computer and curse humanity after seeing that. Okay? Want to play that route, ESPN? You know, before Anthony Davis got there, right? Last year, the Lakers were 37-45. The year before that, the Lakers were 37-45. So, can I say that, you know, are the Lakers better without LeBron James? I mean, if you look at these numbers, Of course not, because I know why they went 37-45 last year. But that's how stupid these titles are. That's the agenda, man. But going back to the Raptors, though, man, they are not a championship level team without Kawhi Leonard, and I don't know why some of his fan base thought that. But at the end of the day, they're not. And if they weren't that with DeMar DeRozan, right, why would they be without even him? Pascal Siakam isn't even as good as DeMar DeRozan. So what would make you think that a team that was LeBron's bitch with DeMar DeRozan and Kyle Lowry would somehow be a championship, a dark horse with just Pascal Siakam? Pascal Siakam, look, let me try to think of a good example. What's a good example of what I'm talking about? Okay. I'll just use this one, even though it's a tired example. When Scottie Pippen began to emerge in the early 90s, right? There were some people that actually insinuated that Scottie could be better than Mike, and that Jordan was holding Scottie's growth potential back. There were people that actually saying that back then. People didn't know what the fuck they were talking about. Didn't know Scottie's mental makeup. So when Michael retired, right, there were a lot of people who thought Scottie was going to average like 28, 29, 30. And Scottie went from averaging 20, 21 to 22. And don't get me wrong, Scottie is a much better player than Pascal Siakam. But Scottie is not the type of player that can lead a team to a championship. He's at best a veteran presence that with a consortium of other stars like that Portland team, that's his best role. But actually be like the man, no, he can't do that. You know what I'm saying? That's just not how Scottie Pippen's built. And there's some other examples of that as well. I'll put it like this. Let me give you an old school example. A guy like Elvin Hayes, great player, put up great numbers, out throughout his career. But Elvin Hayes was the type of guy who on mediocre teams could put up great numbers. 28 points, 13 rebounds, great numbers. But on a great team, he kind of needed, he could perform, but the pressure got to him a lot. And sometimes he faded down the stretch of games. Right? Whereas some of the guys on those Bullets teams that weren't as touted or as overall talented as him, you know what I'm saying? Like the Bob Dandridges and the Phil Cheniers, those are some of the guys that actually tended to perform down the stretch. Even though I think in one of those games Bob Dandridge shot terrible in the finals, but still, generally, those were the guys that could perform down the stretch. That's why I did a video a couple months ago telling you guys that in many ways, Bob Dandridge was like the Kawhi Leonard of the 1970s, and he's very underrated. And I think he should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think Bob Dandridge is in the Hall of Fame. Let me see. I know I'm getting away from the point of this video, but I want to see something right quick. I don't think Bob Dandridge is in the Hall of Fame. No, he's not. And I think he should be. You know what I'm saying? I think he's the only player in the history of the NBA to average over 20 points a game in the finals and not be in the Hall of Fame, if I'm not mistaken. I think Bob Dandridge is the only guy to average over 20 points a game in the NBA Finals, and not be in the Hall of Fame. But anyway, going back to this Raptors team, man, they're not going to win a championship. You know what I'm saying? And Boston's going to win this series either in 6 or 7. I actually think Boston's going to wrap this up in their next game tomorrow. But that's all I got to say.